Hey everyone, Pet Party here today. We're going to be going over another question I get asked very, very regularly, and that is, what's the next big thing I should be buying? I've got all of these penny stocks that I've been investing in. You've got your gold, maximum rare tin, whatever the hell it is, blue eyes. You've got, your free Dark Magician Girl, Lost Art promos. Uh, RIP to anyone who invested a shitload of those. You've got all these penny stonks that you've been investing in, but you want to know, what's the next big thing that's going to go straight to the moon? Where should I be throwing all of my tens of dollars at to try and make some stonks? So, long story short, there is no proven formula on what to do with that. If there was, I wouldn't be fucking telling you because I'd just be buying it all on myself. That being said, there are a couple of rules of thumb that I do use that might help some of you out. And number one is, what do you like? And I don't mean that in the sense of, oh, well, I like taking long walks on the beach, going out and listening to the sound of the waves come. No, I'm not talking about that shit. When it comes to collectibles, what do you like? Do you like video games? Do you like trading cards? You're getting down the weeds. Do you like sports cards? Do you like Pokemon? Do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? And I asked that question because, A, if you like it, there's probably a good chance at least one other person on the planet likes it too. And the second thing is really, if it all goes to shit in the most terrible way possible, are you going to be comfortable either cracking open a box that you paid $1,000 for that's now worth $100, or are you comfortable looking at a PSA 10 graded Naruto card that you paid $500 for that's now worth 50 cents? So those are the two biggest things I like to keep in the back of my mind when I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to buy. What do I think is going to be the next big quote-unquote stonk when it comes to this stuff? So, number one, do you like it? Is it popular? Cannot stress that part enough. People bitch and moan about how, base set Pokemon was printed to oblivion, and, Evolutions was printed to oblivion, Hidden Fates was printed to oblivion. These reprint LOB packs are printed to oblivion. Everyone always says printed to oblivion, like it's this, giant taboo word. I'm gonna do a video on that next. They're printed to oblivion because they're popular. They're not printed to oblivion because they like making the printer go burr for the sake of employing, dozens or hundreds of people, and they're just that nice of a company. They like giving everyone free chicken tenders. Not the way how corporations tend to work, unfortunately. So, if something was printed and printed and printed, chances are it's popular. If you grew up with it as a kid and all your friends were playing Pokemon or all your friends were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and you all grew up with your base set Pokemon, your LOB, Legend of Blue Eyes, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, chances are that's popular and that's a good place to be, picking up a few things. If you look at, say, Dragon Ball, and yeah, everyone, when you were a kid, loved watching the show, but no one played the cards, Dragon Ball does have an inherent shitload of popularity to it. A lot of the cards and sealed products over the last couple of years have gone up a lot in value, but it's more of a speculative item because people are being speculative on it increasing just like you are, which is what's artificially causing a lot of the pricing to go up. So you really needed to keep that in mind. At the end of the day, though, if you're fine with picking it up just because, your grandma bought you a few Dragon Ball packs when you were a kid, You just want to have that nostalgic, warm, fuzzy feeling you had opening some packs up. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're looking at, say, Harry Potter cards, Harry Potter is one of the most profitable franchises on the planet because it's inheritably popular. And that may or may not transition to the card game. I know a lot of people are speculating heavy on Harry Potter. I'm still selling the packs in the store for like $1.99 Canadian, which is, like 3 cents American for anyone who gives a shit. But the boxes have quadrupled or more in price in the last few months because people are speculating on it being, the next big thing. So you really need to be careful, like I said, with this more speculative stuff. When it comes to Modern, when you're talking Pokemon, right now, pretty much all Pokemon is worth its weight in gold just because it's hard to come by. Everyone wants to be cracking it. A lot of the expected values coming out of a lot of these booster packs or booster boxes are extraordinarily high compared to what you're paying for. So when you factor in arbitrage, you can make money just by cracking open the packs and selling the shit you get out of them. So with Pokemon, old school and modern, it's pretty easy to make money if you know what the hell you're at. With Yu-Gi-Oh!, a lot of it comes down to the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Does very controlled print runs artificially. It's not because their printers can't keep up with it. They just generally print to whatever the pre-orders are. They have a little bit left over, then they go away. If you got something like Toon Chaos that was really popular, sold out immediately, and everyone was, beating down the doors to their local game store trying to get more. Sometimes they'll do a small unlimited print run just to try and sate market demand a bit, but that generally doesn't happen with Yu-Gi-Oh! The problem is with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the second a card isn't in the meta anymore, that value of the sealed booster box it came out of generally goes to shit. And you can argue, down the road, cards like, what's a good one? I don't even know. One of the hand traps. Ghost Reaper, Ogre Girl, I can't even remember this shit. Say one of the hand traps that everyone used in one of their decks forever, you want to go back and buy the original secret rare printing of that card because it was in the meta. You're figuring, okay, in a few years when those kids get out, that's the card they're going to be nostalgic about because that's what they grew up with. There is an argument to be made on that, but a speculative investment like that is generally going to tend to be a lot longer term and harder for you to actually make a sizable percentage gain year over year if you're talking about investing. So keep that in mind. A lot of that shit's speculative. So an easy place to really look at is, say, the pop report at PSA. People like bitching about, your GBI Egyptian God cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! And your Japanese CD promos from Pokemon saying, look at the pop report, there's so many of them. Why the hell would I spend that kind of card or money on a card that isn't rare and, there's thousands or tens of thousands of them graded. And all I have to say to you is there's a reason why there's thousands or tens of thousands of those cards graded. That's because they're popular. People are going to keep buying them. That's why they keep going up in price. So the pop report being high can either be a blessing or a curse depending on if you know what to be looking for when it comes to market trends and things like that. But general rule of thumb is if you think it's popular, you like it, chances are it's probably popular and other people are thinking the same thing too. Again, can't stress this enough, be super careful when it comes to speculative shit that isn't, a long-term proven commodity. If you're talking Dragon Ball Super cards, for example, came out the last few years, like Tournament of Power. I made a shitload of money on Tournament of Power selling them back before they went to absolute shit about a year ago. Only reason they're gone up now is because of that SMR article. You could buy a lot of those cards for super cheap this time last year. I ended up selling a lot of mine for like half of what I was selling them for when I was selling them for at the peak about a year and a half ago, before the SMR thing. So, again, be careful with speculative assets. Be careful with something that hasn't been proven in the market long term. You know, I like to see that nice steady growth month over month or year over year. If there's a giant uptick, there can generally be a giant downturn just as fast. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much it for today. Just wanted to go over that because a few people keep asking me that. So, hope you learned something today and have a good one.